So Brittany and I are kind of a tag team when it comes to CareCrew. So we are here with another episode to bring you some education, some tips and tricks as far as taking care of the seniors in your life and helping you a little bit along that journey. So this month, we are launching our new series. So this month, at the end of the month, we're going to be doing the Alzheimer's Walk, which is an annual event that raises money for Alzheimer's awareness. And this, I believe that's national, right? That's
Yes.
across the country. But yeah, we are going to be participating in that. So what we wanted to do was do a 4-week series regarding caring for your loved ones with Alzheimer's. It's a huge prevalent disease process between Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's probably one of the most common diagnoses that we see. What do you think, Britt? I think it's probably one of the most.
Yeah, it's probably one of the, probably maybe top 3 in our elderly.
Yeah. I would say a lot of the referrals we get for care are because of, folks that are developing more advanced symptoms and families and caregivers needing some extra help. So we thought it might be some great benefit to you guys to bring you some tips and tricks regarding how to give the greatest care to those in your life that might be dealing with that. So you want to go ahead and get started, Britt?
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to talk about was scheduling wisely. So when we're dealing with someone with Alzheimer's, a lot of us don't realize that schedule plays a huge part. Establishing a daily routine, making sure everything stays exactly the same from day 1 to day 2, and so on and so forth, such as bathing, medical appointments, dinner times, lunch times, times for medications. Everything has to be literally a set schedule. I know it sounds crazy. It's like having a toddler. You literally have to keep everything on a schedule, because if not, the slightest bit of change will throw them way off.
Some of it too is like using, because the biggest goal here that we're trying to reach is reducing frustration, because it can be an incredibly frustrating disease process for loved ones to deal with, because it's let's be challenging. And so if you know that, your loved one, your mom, your spouse, is better in the morning, maybe they're the most clear, they're the most cooperative in the mornings. Well, you want to utilize that when you're scheduling, and make sure you maybe do some of the more difficult things like getting to a doctor's appointment or something in the morning, and utilize what, when they're their best, instead of trying to do it in the evening when they're sundowning and you're fighting a battle, because it's just not going to work. So scheduling.
Yeah, always go with their most refreshed kind of points of day. Sometimes it's first thing in the morning, sometimes it's the middle of the day once they've kind of gotten up and got a routine going. Mm-hmm. But obviously, whenever they're the most alert, and they're the most kind of normal, is when you want to do those things, because that's when you're less likely to have the most frustration, because they're kind of more easygoing during their alert period, to where, if, like Annie had talked about with sundowners, if they're going that direction, or that is one of their signs, then if you try to schedule a doctor's appointment in the middle of 4 p.m. and they're sundowning, the frustration for them and you is beyond over the moon. And that can add, you both can feel the frustration, and that can add so much more to the story than you want it to. One of our clients, Annie and I were just talking about this, one of our clients that we had, the poor daughter she tried so many times to get mom to take a shower and take a bath and just go get her nails done and get groomed. And she was very about the way she looked, and she was very presentable with her looks. And she was so frustrated with the daughter. She refused. So the daughter called us and was like, just a wild question. Is there any way that y'all could come in and just help with bath visits and grooming? I don't need all the typical ADLs. I just need, So we called, me and Annie turned it into a spa day.
Yeah.
And so we had a caregiver going out there and bathing her and doing her nails and her toes and painting her nails. And me and Annie went to the first visit. She literally, I walked in, I started talking to her within probably maybe 5 minutes of Amy and I being there. I was like, hey, let's go take a shower. And she's like, oh, that sounds wonderful. And the daughter looked at us like,
I think the daughter told us that, she liked us so much because she liked your eyelashes.
Yes, she liked my eyelashes.
Well, because this particular client was like very into makeup and, was always
Yes.
done up. And so that's why the daughter, it was so hard for her to understand why her mom didn't want to participate in this stuff, because that was her. She was all about, like, she never left the house without a full face of makeup and her nails done and all that. And so when she came in, she just kept saying, y'all's makeup is so beautiful. Oh, your eyelashes. Where did you get those? And she's like, I think she likes you because your eyelashes.
Yeah. And it was, it was literally 5 minutes, but maybe 5 minutes in. And I was like, let's go take a shower and let's do our nails and let's just feel better. And she's like, okay. And she like jumps up and the daughter looks at us like, I've been trying to get her to bathe for 2 weeks.
Trying to do this for weeks. And you just walk in and she walks into the shower with you. Like, it can happen,
It can. And the biggest thing is when you get frustrated as a family member or a spouse or friends, any of that, they sense that. And you kind of get into that space where you start rushing and you start trying to push them to do it. Yeah. That's one of the biggest thing with Alzheimer's. You're on their schedule. You're not on your schedule. You're not on your time. You're on their time. And you just have to be patient. You've got to figure out what works for them, what doesn't. And sometimes family can't do it. Sometimes family, with my own experience with my grandmother, family was the worst enemy in the world. But yet her granddaughter could come in and I could get her to do absolutely anything that I had asked her to do. But if it was one of my parents or one of her kids, it was absolutely no. She didn't know who they were. She refused. And of course, she did not know it was her granddaughter. She totally had forgotten that. But I was the only one that could get her to bathe. I was the only one that could get her to go take her medicine when she was having a hard time. And sometimes just having somebody different, somebody that's outside of their normal day, because that, like we were talking about, the frustration, they can sense it. They can sense that you're upset with them, or if you're rushing them, you're not letting them take their time or them to do it when they want to do it. That adds frustration on both of y'all's sides. Oh, yeah. So there's always things to look out for. And then Andy's going to talk about our next point.
Well, and it kind of leads right into the next point we're going to talk about is taking your time. It's kind of similar, I have young kids, just like Brittany does as well. And, it's kind of like having a toddler where, everything takes so much longer than what it normally would. So it's always that circle of life, when folks get older and especially when they have Alzheimer's disease. Everyday tasks can be very difficult for them and it frustrates them because, they're struggling with it. So tasks that maybe it only took them 15 minutes in the past to take a shower. Well, you might have to schedule or plan for like 45 minutes to get that done because things are going to take longer and they might need to have a break, especially if they have other health conditions too. They might need to kind of have a rest break and that kind of thing. And so we can't, like Brittany was just talking about, we can't rush things. So scheduling and anticipating that things are going to take longer than maybe they used to, an appointment that might have only lasted, you could get there and get back in an hour. You might have to plan for an hour and a half or 2 hours just because it's going to take you longer to get all of the little things done and just to get them through their day. So taking your time is definitely another major tip that we can give you and anticipating that and putting that into the schedule. So the next point, so what's the next tip that we can give folks on helping with their loved ones with Alzheimer's?
So the next tip that we're going to give is involving the person. So I know it sounds crazy, but I promise you it's not. Helping set the table. Let's say y'all are planning a family dinner to come see your loved one. Let them try to help set. They may not remember. Let them kind of do it their own way, but they feel involved. Or if they are very, very independent, and now they've unfortunately had to become codependent, when you're there to get them dressed, let's say you're bringing them to a doctor's appointment, obviously keep an eye on them. But maybe let them try to do it. And then when they can't, but then step in and be like, hey, mom, let me help you real quick. It looks like you're kind of struggling a little bit, and of course it turns into a biffle, then step back and let them do it themselves. And just eventually they'll let you. But it's just one of those things where you have to involve them. Don't make them feel like a child. That frustration will shoot out the window so fast. They do, these people, most of them have went from very independent people who have lived their own lives for so many years. And then now, they have a loved one or a caregiver coming in trying to basically tell them what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And it can add so much frustration. So allow them to be their own person and involve them in things, but also be there to assist. That's the biggest thing. Don't shake your finger at them and tell them they can't do this way or that way, but still let them be them, but involve them in things. When y'all do family dinners or holidays, so many people get frustrated, and so they won't involve them in holidays and stuff anymore. That's one of the biggest frustrations, and it's one of the complaints we've heard from clients is, well, I haven't seen this person in so and so weeks or whatever. And we all have busy lives, so we all know that plays into part. But, always try to include them. If it's one of those things where you may get frustrated at a family dinner, maybe have a family friend or even a caregiver that can come and assist. And if it gets to that point where they're just beyond frustrated, then that instead of having to stop the whole day plan or the family dinner, the caregiver can step out with them and either take them back home, or the caregiver more than likely has built a relationship with them and they're able to bring them back to cue and calm them back down. That way they can still be involved in everything.
Well, and sometimes even just us giving them, setting them up for success a little bit and trying, helping as we're involving them, maybe not set, well, we have to give them visual cues, and like lay this stuff out, so that they, I have to put, the napkin next to the plate, or like, the panties on top because they go on first, and then the pants, and things that we can do to try to help set them up for success.
Make it easier on them.
Yeah, just so they are involved and we're making it as easy as we can for them. And that kind of also leads into our last tip. So providing choices, these folks a lot of times are struggling with a feeling of dependence. They've lost their independence. Sometimes they're even having to move into different living situations, into memory care facilities for safety. And they feel like their choices are taken away from them. They can't decide where and when they go and what they do. And because there's people around them for safety reasons helping. So, I mean, the intentions are good, but they don't get a say in what they're doing every day. So helping give them some choices, and obviously not too many, because if we're giving them, 5, 6, 7 choices on what they want to eat,
it complicates it.
Exactly. They get more overwhelmed at that point. So like giving them just like 2 choices, would you like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or would you like a salad for lunch? You give them 2 choices, they get to make the choice of what they want, 2 outfits to pick from, whether they want to go for a walk or see a movie. You give them 2 options, let them pick, so they feel like they have a sense of control, whereas a lot of aspects of their life now are out of their control.
Yep.
And you and I can kind of imagine how that would be. Right, as an adult, most of the time we are in total control in most things that we do, and where we go and how we do things and what we eat or what we do, what we watch, who we talk to. These folks just don't have a lot of that. So giving them a choice, even if it seems just like a little thing, can really give them a huge sense of empowerment, that they have some sense of self and some sense of control over their day to day. So it's just something else that is, again, it's not a huge impact. It's not a huge, inconvenience for caregivers or family, but those little things can really help to improve their lives and your lives with them. And again, the biggest goal is reducing frustration, because that is the biggest complaint that we see. And so if you do find that, you are the caregiver or the family member of someone that has Alzheimer's disease and you're struggling with these things, don't hesitate to reach out to us. A lot of our folks sometimes just need what we call respite care, where we're coming in for 4 hours, a couple days a week, so that the main caregiver, like say a spouse, can go out and go to the grocery store, or they can go to a doctor's appointment. They don't have to worry because they know that their loved one is safe. They have someone with them that can keep them company, that can make sure that they get their lunch, and they get a mental health break. They get a chance to get all their errands done that they need to. So if you find yourself in that situation, don't hesitate to reach out. You can always go on our website at www.carecrewdfw.com, and you can fill out the form there for a free in-home assessment. It's always a free, no obligation consultation where I'll come out and meet with you. We can see how we can best help you and give you a little bit of assistance. Or you can always call us or text us at 817-242-4717. And again, that phone is answered 24/7. So anytime that you have a need, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you found this content helpful, if you think this is some great information that maybe someone you know might benefit from, do us a favor and share that with them. And give us a like, subscribe to our channel if you'd like more tips. Because like we said, this is the first in a series for the month of October of Alzheimer's tips, tricks, and education. So if you are still interested, if this is something that affects you, make sure you tune in to next week's episode where we'll be diving deeper into this and branching off onto some other topics about Alzheimer's. So thanks again for hopping on and listening to us. And I'm Annie, and
this is Britt. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. Bye.